last May, I was sitting in Union Square talking to my friend Austin, and I was telling him that I would never get a heart-lung transplant. It was a treatment option for the disease that I had, pulmonary hypertension, but it was so unappealing because I would have, my immune system would be compromised for the rest of my life. I'd take a lot of medication. I'd have to wear a mask in crowds. I had friends who had gotten transplants before. Some of them were doing well, some of them weren't. The survival statistics weren't that great, and I was 23. A few days later, I got on a plane and flew to Seattle for a photography job. But I never made it to the job because I woke up in my friend's apartment and I was wheezing. I couldn't catch my breath. I was coughing up blood on, in her toilet. So she called 911. I got in an ambulance. I called my parents. I texted my sister to tell her that I loved her because I didn't know if I would be alive when she read that text. So when my doctors at Stanford called me in Seattle and said that it was time to be listed for a transplant, it sounded like a pretty good option. I couldn't walk around a block on 4 liters of oxygen. And so I was listed at Stanford, and usually once you go active on the list, you wait for a year, 3 years. I had friends who are still waiting for transplants. I waited 28 days, and then I got a call at 7:50 a.m. I was woken up and went through a checklist with a Stanford employee who sounded more nervous than I do now. No, I didn't have a cold. No, I hadn't received any recent blood transfusions. I could be at the hospital in 2 hours. So we threw my parents and my sister and I threw stuff in bags and got in the car, drove to Stanford. We got there at 10 a.m. and they said that my surgery was scheduled for noon that afternoon. So we thought, okay, this is happening. But I didn't go downstairs. I didn't get wheeled to the operating room until 8 p.m. So there was plenty of time for friends and family to arrive, for my dad to do the last IV medication pump change, and for us to spend a lot of time thinking about the people who were grieving while we were celebrating my new chance at life. By the time I went downstairs, I had 10 people to say goodbye to. We were walking in a parade of my hospital bed. And then my parents waited outside the operating room doors with me, and I chose that time to go over my last wishes with my mom, to give her my social media passwords, and it's important, okay, and discuss where donations should be sent in the event of my death, how they should have a party instead of a funeral, just normal things you talk about with your 23-year-old daughter. In the operating room, I ended up waiting 2 hours because the organs were stuck in traffic. So the anesthesiologist asked me what kind of music I wanted to listen to. So I should also say, my heart rate was normally about 60 beats per minute. That day, it was 130 beats per minute, and I could not calm down. So I was trying to do some drawings to calm myself, and I don't trust myself to choose the playlist for a party at my house, so choosing the Pandora station for a room full of people tasked with keeping me alive for the next few hours was a whole new level of terrifying. And it might be the last thing that I listened to. So it's stressful. Heart rate probably went up. But I chose Blind Pilot, and the only complaints coming from the room were about the anesthesiologist's lack of a paid subscription. We listened to ads between songs. Then around 10 at night, they had visualized the organs. The surgeon said it was a go. They called my parents and said they were putting me under. At that point, I was really only concerned for the people in the waiting room because I knew that my body would fight for me. I'd had open heart surgery as a baby, and I knew I would keep going under anesthesia. Last week, I celebrated 200 days post-transplant. And in December, I went ice skating with my friend Austin in Union Square. Yes, I am pretty shaky because I am taking a lot of drugs and I'm wearing a mask. But I'm really, really grateful for this second chance at life.